Hey, AJ, you're the first one here. Just setting things up here. Make sure I got everything. And let's see. Guess I can't use that. No, I guess I'm just going to use YouTube camera. I think everything looks good. The lighting's okay. You can hear me. Hey, Painty Girl. Hi, CB. How are you doing? How was your doctor's appointment? Hopefully it went good and you didn't have to go for surgery or anything. Hi, Joan. Oh, yeah. Elaine, hi. Gail. Good to see you all coming in. I guess I didn't bore you too much last time if you're returning. Hi, Picola. So I've been working on this class for today, and I'm trying to figure out what to teach next. Because there's a lot of things involved with drawing, but I think I'm going to keep it easy for right now, and then we can get into the more difficult things later, if that's good for you guys. So wait a little bit for a few more people to get in. Hi, Danny. Easy's good. Hi, Jilly. So hope you guys all did your homework. Drawing circles and lines, some shapes. Hi, Kim. I think I kept the papers we did. So we learned to use your arm and draw lightly. To start, so with a 2 HB pencil. As you remember, when you're drawing with your arm, you want to do the overhand, especially if you're drawing shapes. Don't press too hard, draw lightly first. So we did some lines also with your arm, so you don't want to rest your wrist on the ground or you end up doing arcs. Hey, Janet. Dorothy. Good to see everybody. And then after that, we did recognizing shapes in the objects you're drawing, which is very important because that stops your brain from saying, oh, that's a generic apple, or that's a house. I know how to draw a house, and you get a generic drawing. So you're tricking your brain not to do that by calling it a triangle or a circle, an ellipse. And that's important, just to view whatever you're drawing as shapes. And if you find that difficult, you could put your drawing, or not your drawing, your photo. If you're doing a photo, you can't do it if it's real life, but put it upside down, draw it upside down. Hi, Lena. Lena? You're babysitting? Dorothy? I would never throw up. So you guys have been looking at catalogs or magazines and finding your different shapes in them. And you could draw right on the magazine or the pictures that you're looking at, just so that it trains your brain to look at things in shapes. Excellent, Jan. Now, I remember when I was showing this book, I saw that a bunch of you were going to order it. Hi, Eileen. So if you got this, excellent book for using as a reference to draw from. There's a number of them. I did get another one because I love them so much. This one's really cute. Look at the dog. That's so cute. Look at the little guy. Eileen's just here to disturb the class. She was probably one of those kids in her class that she would be the. Well, I remember one of my teachers used to call the person that made everyone laugh a hooligan. You are? You're a big hooligan? Oh, dear. Yeah, I think these are so cute. And there's some really cute sayings. This is funny. Bill Murray said, "If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you." Ah. There's some really cute sayings in here. I love this one. People change and forget to tell each other. When Armageddon takes place, parking is going to be a major problem. There's some really good ones in here. There's some awesome ones. There's some good pictures too. Well, this one's really good, Janet, because it's got a lot of monkeys in it. It's got like quite a few monkeys. I was really, oh, this is one fun one. I was thinking of you. Dogs and little butts. But these are really awesome books. A cow licking his nose. Here's one. Never argue with an idiot. People may not be able to tell the difference. What's the name of this book? 165 Reasons for Smiling in Thoughts and Pictures. Oh boy. So there's some really funny ones in here. I was just laughing all day when I was reading these things. Lots of good pictures. But the sayings are really good in this book. There's quite a few different ones. Okay. So, thanks, Paula. There's some really snarky comments in it too, which I thought was really funny. Let me see if this. A little crooked. All right. So, everyone has their pencil and paper ready. If you want, you can do this along with me, or you can just watch this whole video and then go through it and stop in parts of it and do it. It's up to you. A lot of people I know do like to watch the whole video first. So what I want to do first, the next thing after line drawing, which, oh, I bet I didn't. Yep. Yes, I do have it. I'm going to take this out again. Get it ready. Is every shape, when you're drawing something, you're looking at the shape. Well, that you'd get the initial shape of that object, but then it has to become a form. And a form is something with volume. Hi, Colleen. So, well, I guess I'll do it on paper instead. Well, let's take one of these books again. Look at Colleen. I know you'd love that one. Let's take some. This one's really good for close-ups of different things. The other one I like for its quotes. Let's see, what can we do? I want something with some, I'm looking for something that has a little bit more shadowing on it, but not too difficult. I guess we could do that one. It's the rocks. Or we could do the pillows over again too. Let's do this one, the beets. Let's see. I might have to. That's a little better. So what we're viewing here, let's start off with this. Oh, I guess I should get some white pen or something. Let's see. A Sharpie paint marker. Which one is this? Oh, that's oil-based. No. Don't know what I can use that will show up. That will be bright enough. Okay. I'll try the black again. See if you can see it. Now, when you're starting to draw an object, you want to start out with the largest shape that you see and work your way down in size. So here we see it looks like a circle. So we would do this one here. And then this could be a half a circle. Let's put a line in like this. You may see it in a different way. It's not really showing up for you guys very much. Maybe I'll have to do it on paper. I'll this book under it so it doesn't shine. That's better. All right. So this here, we see this big shape here. Now we could also see an oval that's even bigger. So when we're drawing it and going to place it onto your page, the first thing we want to do is place it in the right spot, because you don't want to end up, say, putting it here and then you didn't have enough room for your leaves. So we like to measure what you're drawing. So say I'm going to do it kind of the same size on this piece of paper. So I've got my pencil and I measure it. So it's this big. And from here to the top of the page is almost half of that size. So I'm going to put it, I don't want it right on the very top of the page. So I'm going to start it right here. So I'm going to put a little tick here. So now we can draw or measure from here. And you probably have two pencils if you want. So there. So from here to there is going to be the size of my oval. So you can basically see the shape. Remember, keep drawing until you think you have the shape you want, because you can always erase these lines. So from this point is almost half. So from here, this is almost a circle. So I'm going to draw a circle. Like so. Nice. Now you can take your line axis, goes down the center, because it is uneven on both sides. So we want to see, is this side identical to this side? Well, we might have to tweak it a bit. So with a little bit of a darker line, because this will be the line that I want to use, you start doing the line that you want to use. So you know you're going to go by that line. This here, I can see it widens out more. It goes down more. And then curves in. It's an odd shape. So the original shape you drew doesn't necessarily have to meet all the, it doesn't have to look like a true circle or a true oval or square or whatever you drew first. It can go outside the lines. You just want to be able to compare it. I have a bad habit of drawing too hard and it leaves. Yes, exactly. That's why you need to practice. And some people have a real hard time. And if you do have a real hard time, try holding your pencil on the end. This will stop you from drawing too dark. Okay, so right here on the bottom, you see this, how it's got a certain curve to it. It's not going to be the same as the top here. Because we're viewing it down, this has more of an arc than this would. And that gets into perspective. And I'm not going to get into that today. That's a whole course on its own. Okay, this line's not straight. I need a ruler. You can use a ruler to do your axis. Got gray. Yep, the gray kneaded eraser is great. I use those all the time. Any other, these are great also. These Staedtler Mars plastic erasers, they're good. Janet may lend you. Yeah, I know. So you want to kind of get your shape down. Now, after you've done this lightly and you think you've gotten the shape correct, I want you to stop, look at it, and say to yourself, how can I improve this? Is it the right shape? Do I need to place it a little up or a little down? Is this the way it should be? So I can see that this side sticks out a little bit. So I'm going to lightly take some of that pencil off. Now there's many different ways of getting this shape the right way. You can also, depends on how much you want to get involved in doing it absolutely correct. Sometimes you do have to do that. You can take a ruler and draw a box around the shape. From the sides to the bottom. And you can always erase this later. And this will tell you by looking at the corners, and this is the negative space, if it looks identical to each other. So it just gives you another tool to work with to get your something that has to be identical on both, mirrored image, I guess you would say, on both sides. So that one had to be over a little bit. This one's still a little pointy, I think. This one should have gone down further. This one goes in more. Let's see. This is just a Staedtler HB. Nothing special. Just your standard HB pencil, Kathy. The ones you'd use in school. Okay, so if I look at this, this is looking a little bit long to me. So it looks okay there, but I think I have to shorten it. Now I'm pressing a little bit hard for you guys so you can see it, but do it very lightly. That way you don't have problems erasing. This needs to be changed a little bit, a little more rounder here. All right. So then we have some froth in that drink. So lightly I'm going to put that in. You have to remember, in your mind, you're thinking this glass is round. And that'll help you draw the volume of this piece. Now, when we're drawing, this is kind of not a great one to do as far as shading. You can get an egg from the fridge and draw the egg, and you will see the shading of it. I don't think there's an egg in here. But the shading or mark making of whatever you're drawing will change your flat drawing into a 3-dimension. Okay, this has to be a little. You can see, I'll try and do some of this, but it doesn't have the best lighting for drawing this as far as shading goes. But there is a bit of shadow around here. And with a shading, you want to be able to draw it as evenly as you can at first, because if you end up doing shading like this, it's uneven. It's very difficult to make that smooth. So with shading, I want you to practice with the side of your pencil to try and make an even line of pencil or graphite so that we'll be able to shade this without it looking too uneven. So right here, I'll mark where the shaded part is. Again, it's going to follow the contour of this glass shape. So there must be a bow in it of some sort that's giving this shadow. And then shading it, I'm going to go with the contour of the glass. So you want to do it as even as possible. Don't go too heavy-handed with the shading. You can build it up. Try and get it. It's not the easiest thing to do, but if you can get it as even as possible, it'll save you a lot of work. And this is really important when you're doing portraits. So this is just the basics. Now, where did I put that? You can either take a napkin or a Kleenex. This is just a dry baby wipe, and rub it to smooth it out more. Or you can use these stumps. These are great. I love these. Sorry. That's okay. You can do your homework later. Just watch the recording. So when shading, it doesn't have a hard edge. It graduates into whatever light source you have. Either it gets darker or lighter. So that's just a very light part. Yes, don't get, there's a Tertullian, and it's kind of rolled paper, and it does leave lines on your work when you're using it because it's rolled up. I don't know if I have any. I probably don't. These are the best because they're not hollow like a Tertullian. These are stumps, they're called. And you can get them in many different sizes. There's really big ones for big areas. There's ones even smaller than this in between. Hey, Carol. That's okay. Okay, so you can get really detailed too in this. I'm not going to do that with this one here. I would probably suggest find something that isn't see-through. Doing see-through is a little more difficult for the beginner. Now you can get into these are bubbles, so you could do circular motions and make bubbles. Make it darker, lighter. But you want to start out light first, and then you increase your different values. All right, now, being that this part down here is very, very dark in the glass, I'm going to make this whole area darker. Because if you were going to put this in black and white, you would see that this is very, very dark, and this is medium. So if you find a picture on the internet, Pixabay or any of those, I would suggest doing them in black and white first. Where did I put my pencil? Okay, I just lost my pen. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to shade again up and down. I'll show you what happens when when you draw lines that aren't even. I'll show you. Doesn't matter how much. See, you can still see those lines. So if you want it real smooth, you have to try and do an even pressure, because that will, doing this without even pressure gives you a lot more work to finish, to get those marks out. It's very difficult. Now, if you don't have a tortillon, you can try a Q-tip, or, like I said, a Kleenex, and just use your finger. These are very cheap, so if you can get them, I would suggest getting them. They're great. Any questions? And one of the most important, if you're going to be doing pencil drawings, one of the most important thing about it looking realistic is contrast, lights to very darks. A lot of people have a real problem putting in a real dark, but you need that. This isn't the best pencil to use to be putting in real darks. You would have to go into your 6Bs probably, or a 4B even, pencil, and that would give you a lot more dark mark. For erasing highlights and stuff like that, you can always use your eraser and just make a tip. There's a bit of a, then you just erase parts. And with this rim of the glass, you can see a really definite dark line in the bottom here of the rim. It's all about observation, guys. Is charcoal used with graphite? Mixed together, you mean? Like using pencil and charcoal? I wouldn't do that because charcoal is very soft and it would get all over the place. And you can really see the difference between charcoal and pencil. So it would look a little strange when it was finished because charcoal is very flat, whereas pencil's got a little bit of a shine to it when it's done. If you're going to do charcoal drawing, I would do the whole thing in charcoal. I'll show you one I have here. Yeah, this is charcoal. So see, it's been sprayed, but there's no shine to it. And this is white and dark charcoal. Oh, so don't use charcoal to deepen. No, I wouldn't use to deepen it. If you're going to get an HB or a B pencil, you can get them in different grades. So it goes all the way up to a 10B. The very darkest is a 10. I'm not sure if it goes any higher than that. Oh, this set is graphite and charcoal. But what set? Gail? Love you. Thanks, guys. If anyone needs an expensive on, it actually got a bit cheaper. Pen charcoal set with canvas pouch. They make a lot of sets. You will find charcoal with them, but it doesn't mean you use the two together. I wouldn't. It moves a lot more than graphite too, the charcoal. So they just naturally put the twos together. That's not a pen, but maybe they just call it pen, Gail. Okay. So it's practice, guys. You really have to practice seeing and studying what you're drawing. And don't get upset if it doesn't work out the first time. Do it again. A lot of artists do studies of whatever they're planning on drawing for a finished product or painting. And they draw over and over again. Thanks, Pacola. So you can use erasers or whatever to remove the highlights. There's electric erasers. I don't know if this one's got a battery. No, it's out. There's really small erasers. I don't know where mine are right now. Little pen erasers that are great for taking small pieces of your graphite out for hair, or sparkle in an eye, or a shine on something that's smooth. Okay. So find some coffee cups, or you can go on the internet too and they'll find circles, squares, and triangles in different lights. So we'll get into perspective another time. That's probably not right. But say the light was coming this way. Your box would have the highlight on here, the top. This side, because it's coming on an angle this way, would be your darkest. So you got to think about your lighting, your source of light. Where is it coming from? What side is it on? Cast shadows. Now you can do just basic shading or hatch lines till you can figure out your ways of light. Some people have a real hard time knowing how to shade by the source of light. This side would be a little bit lighter. This would be the absolute darkest. And then you would also have, depending on your light, you would have a cast shadow from this box. Depending on how the light's coming on it would depend on the shape of the shadow. So they're right at the very bottom would be very, very dark, because there's no light under there at all. You would have ambient light bouncing off of the table onto this side of the box, and then that would give a little bit of light on this shadow. I just have a problem shading in general to not have the lines you were talking about. Oh, okay. Well, that's just a matter of just do a bunch of graduating. Hold the pencil down here so you're not pressing hard. And use the side of your pencil lead and try to have the same pressure. Takes practice. A lot of times when I'm doing a portrait, I have to do this. Because you forget. So just go down a page doing this. My pencil's not the greatest. I should sharpen it. And that way you can find your pressure. And then also start off really dark. And see if you can make a gradation of that tone. By releasing the pressure. Okay. Kathy. Oh, that's okay, Devin. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's see. What else was I gonna? Have you got any questions? Any other questions? Now, I don't see any response. So if you got questions, don't be shy about asking, because I'll answer them. It doesn't matter what you think, if they're silly or not. They're never silly. If you don't understand something, I will let you Cassie did some great shading and tweeted. Oh, just recently? Let me check. Twitter? We'll see. Awesome. That's very good. Awesome. Yeah, it all comes with practice, guys. Don't be upset if it doesn't turn out or look the way you want it the first time. Keep doing it. This is all on practice. Practice makes perfect. Well, I shouldn't say perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. A lot of times I'll do different drawings and everyone will say, oh, it's perfect. But I know where the mistakes are. You'll always know where a mistake is. I think it was hashtag draw with Kathy. Gail, I'll probably be doing maybe next week. I will do a farmyard where I will have a bunch of yous. What is it called, in the back room, and I'll take each one of yous out one at a time, full screen, and then you can ask me questions about your drawing, and I can help you with whatever you're having difficulties with. Does that sound good? Yes, next week, Pacola. I'll have to figure out farmyard. I've never been on it. and then I can critique. I know that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to be done, but I'm not going to be mean or anything, but I will help you with whatever I can see that you need a little more help on. And that's how you learn, by asking, what should I be doing differently? Okay. Now, I got this bunny on, I believe it was Pexels. It's a website, free pictures for drawing. I think it's Pexels or Pixabay. I can't remember. But you can, if you want, you can take a screenshot of this and use it for drawing. Cass would tell me to put I would not. I would just make you do more. Hi, Star. Hi, Johnny. You doodle often? Awesome. The more you do, the better you get. Okay. So did you take a screenshot? If not, I will try and put this on Twitter or Facebook, maybe both. And my account is open, so you can go on my account and look at all my photos. So you don't have to friend me or anything like that. Yeah, there's many. What I like to do is find something that's on a white background. If you don't have Photoshop or some kind of a photo editing on your computer, or some people don't know how to do it, find a picture with a white background. This way you're only concentrating on that one thing. So this was the bunny in color. So as you can see, when you do a black and white, you are more able to see the differences in the shading. Sometimes it's really difficult. So like in this area here, it would be harder to distinguish with the color photo, and then you can see it a little more in here. So what I'm going to want you guys to do is to draw this bunny. So what I'm going to do is going to get a marker, and I'm going to show you what I saw in this rabbit. Is that big enough? I doubt it. Oh yeah, it'll work. So at first I wanted to find the biggest shape. Okay, I think I can use instead of drawing on it, we'll use this. Already. Okay, so the biggest shape. Now there's two ways you could go about this. It could be this here. Okay. Or it could be this. All depends. Everyone will see something different. But see, I've gone over the legs and the foot and the head. But this is my biggest shape. Thanks, Pacola. You're awesome. Now, I believe what I did was I did this one first. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the shape and put it onto my paper. Now, where are we going to put that shape on the paper? Let's do a completely new bunny. Should I? No, I'll do it in pencil, I guess. Okay, so there's my shape. If you got the photograph right beside it, then it's not as hard to do. But if you're doing this from the computer to your sketch pad, then it might be a little more difficult. So what we want to do is this shape here, we have, it's about that big. From the top of it, it's a little under, it's probably about 2.5 of these bodies put together in the total height. So you want to measure where on the paper you're going to go. So it's a little bit bigger maybe. I'm looking at it. I put it down. It doesn't have to be one circle. It can be a many circles. Does that look right to me? It might be a little bit wider. So let's widen this a little bit. Where's my next shape? I would say it's right here. Hi, Michelle. So this one is kind of a oblong shape. And it's kind of, again, you have to really study, pay attention to your reference. The size of this, where does the top of it meet? It's almost in the center. So almost in the center, but it's butting up against the bottom part. Also, axis. There's an axis line right down here. So what axis is it on? So we have axis about like that. Okay. Next biggest shape. The bunny head, another oval. Notice I'm not going completely over the ears or the neck. You just want the main part of that head. Where is it again? It's about 1/3 from the top, and it's on an axis again, but very similar to this axis, okay? So about a third. It doesn't hit the bottom of this circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just to give you an indication of where you're going to put stuff. All right. Then right here, we have a triangle. So it goes straight down and right across. Right here, let's do the ears. We have, let's do a square. It's on pretty well on the same axis. So let's see, we got this head. I'm going to put it a little bit shorter. We're going to go, it's almost the same width as the head. Okay. Next, the legs. They're a little bit in front of this back leg, just a smidge. The front one, we're going to do as a rectangle. And it is, we're going to put it right here. And it's on a bit of an axis. It goes past the bottom part of the foot. Bit of an angle. The other one is on a completely different axis. This one we could do as a triangle, actually. And it's a little bit. Okay. So there's our angle on the shape. Maybe the center line for each big shape. I struggle with the axis. If you find that difficult, what you can do is get a, you know how you can go to the dollar store and get the mechanical set, and it has the, what are they called? Janet, you probably know this. It gives you the angles. And you can find your axis. Protractors too. Yeah, protractors would work. Any angle. And measure it, if that helps. Kathy, so if we are going to print out the photo, we should do it in black and white. Right? Yes, do it in black and white. It's a lot easier to see it for shading. I would rather you guys get used to the proportions and general shading first, because in color you have to learn tonal values, and that can get a little confusing. So black and white would be easier. And it is important, the axis, because it does help you, especially when you're doing animals. Anything that you have to be precise in, or a face, because your eyes may be a certain way, or your head's tilted, your body's leaning forward, especially when you're getting into foreshortening and stuff like that. It's very important. I think so. Um, Let's see, I'm just reading. I do it in black and white, also then in color. Thanks, Vicki. Oh, you like that picture? No, I was thinking of a bird, or well, I thought, bunnies are cute. And there's many different ways of doing stylized bunnies, or very detailed, realistic bunnies. There's the sketchy bunnies that you would just put a suggestion of fur on. You don't have to do exactly every hair. All right, so from this, we will add all of this stuff. So let's start off with, see this here? It doesn't really go all the way around. It has a straight part. So again, with doing this, now you put in a little bit of a darker line, to show that this is the line you want now. There's a little foot. And you could add this now. And you can see it curves here and goes straight. Kind of midway, a little bump. Then it flattens out again. His ears, this one's lower. It's got a very big ear. Again, you just want to follow the shape. You can do some erasing, that's just fine. I know a lot of people say, oh, you can't erase. Yes, you can. Want to get the general shape. There's always one. I must be the slow one in class. 3 is always Why? Oh my God. No, that was that was my sump pump. I'm downstairs in the basement in my studio. It's raining out, so it'll go off every once in a while. It's not my tummy. I hope not. Ah. So you can just now I see that this goes up to his nose, so this has to be a little bigger. And this curves in here. Okay, so I got my general. Now we do have a it's very shadowed in here. You can't really see what's going on, but I think there's a foot and then his tummy is in here. So we'll just put a general. Can't see his tail. Okay, so the eye, you see the eyes on an axis too. So it's kind of following this line right here. And it's at the bottom of this bump. Kind of right there it starts. And it's an almond shape. Doing right, Michelle. So we can see the little highlight. I'm just going to rub out this line here so we can do my highlight. So the highlights, I'm going to put a circle right there for the highlight, and then the rest will be all fairly dark because it's brown eyes. He has a bit of a lighter section in here. Try to get the almond shape. It's very important to concentrate on the areas that most people will see first, which when it comes to animals and people, it's always the eye area or the face. So more detail has to be done on the face than anywhere else. Michelle, the hashtag was Draw with Kathy. Thanks, Kathy. Okay. So this is the basic shape then. So now I can work off of this. So when doing an animal, depending on the style you want to do it in, I'm going to do it like this. This is more of a sketchy. So not every single solitary piece of hair is drawn. It's a suggestion of a fuzzy animal. And when you do stuff like this, your line quality matters. You wouldn't want to outline this whole thing with a hard, thick line because it wouldn't look natural. So when you're drawing, you have to pay attention to what kind of line you're putting down. It can be a very, let's see. You can have sketchy lines. You can have a real hard line. You can have thick lines. I haven't got a really good pencil to do this. I could do this even with a marker. Where'd that marker go? Even marker will do it. Just something like that. You could do very light or a very thick line. They all give you some kind of impression of softness, hardness. It's almost an emotional line. This is one of the homeworks that I had to do when I was in art school, and we had to do this for a whole month. Draw lines, emotional lines, and go outside, go on the sidewalk, and draw the cracks in the sidewalk. Kathy, do you ever use a ruler? Yes. Whatever helps you do what has to be done is fine. There's many, many, many types of instruments, ways of getting proportion. Like even this. If you need to draw over something, you're not getting it, and use it to figure out if it's the right size for what you're doing. You could draw grids and do it from that way. Grids are fantastic if you're really having troubles with proportion, and a lot of people do. Draw a grid, a 1-inch grid over your photo, which would be this. You can put it on a piece of acetate. You can go online and print out a transparency with a grid. And then you just lay it on top of there. And then you can get a pencil and lightly draw a grid on your paper that you're going to be doing the drawing. Everybody has a different way of doing this. I'm just showing you what I do, what I have learned. You could go on any site and they'll be doing it differently because that's what's working for them. So don't feel that you have to. Emotional lines for a month. Yeah, emotional lines for a month. And you do learn how to draw certain things that you probably wouldn't have realized that would be different. Like this here. It's hard doing it with a pencil or a marker, but now if I did that, you know, there's difference. That doesn't look like, this looks harder than this. So this is, say, a pillow. So pillow, you wouldn't think of pillows with hard lines because it's soft. So you kind of have to figure out what an emotional line is to you. Everybody draws them differently, so it's kind of a neat experiment to go through. So like this bunny, it's very soft, so I'm not going to want to put a really hard, thick lines. I want soft lines. So with that, what I do is I go with the darkest areas first. And because there is no definition in there of anything, it's just dark, then I'll color in that area. Now I'm going scribbly here because it wouldn't be a straight line because there's fur overlapping it. In here, very, very, very dark. And again, there's a little bit of fur. In here, around the mouth. Now he hasn't got a lot of long fur in the mouth area, so I can do more of a straighter emphasis line. Now here, in his back, see how there's little hairs sticking out? Very small ones. So I could start off very light, not too big. And then work your way in. Don't have a straight line though. See how it's darker here? It's because you're viewing that. That's the rounded part of his leg going and his little bum. So you view the hairs closer together. And as you get to the focal point of his leg, they're farther apart. Always, always look to see how the direction of the hair is going, because that will also give you the form of whatever you're drawing. So see here, his hairs are going downwards. So just in, clusters. Now this part here is where the fur has separated. So it's about here. So the fur is kind of splayed out. So we can put that in because it's a focal point because of the dark coloring. And then we can just shade this in. So then we can take our stump and just smooth it out a little bit. So it's not hard looking. So here, there's some more shading. And here, Just gonna put some shading, and then you can go over top of it with your pencil and add some darker lines where the hairs would be. Again, watch your direction. I'll do this here. Hey, Judy. Okay. Now the eye is very dark. And the eyeball is right there. Or the iris and the pupil. Pupil's very dark. The iris is dark too, but not quite as dark as the pupil. So I'm just going to put a little bit. His lids are very, very dark. Okay. Hey, May. So if you see here, the direction of fur, it's going this way and up. This part goes down. This part goes over here. You have to pay attention to that because that actually gives you the form of his chest and his leg area, how it connects into his skeleton frame and the muscle. So that's important to get that down. So we'll put just a few more. I'm not going to do the whole thing. And make sure you do the right size. Don't do really big areas. I just do little tufts, I guess you would call it, going a certain way just to indicate that it's fur. If you wanted to do a realistic, it would take you hours and hours and days, probably, to do all the fur. Fur is so hard and such a slow process. Yeah, it is. There's different ways of going about it. Shading first and removing with an eraser, and then adding your darker values. So it depends how how much detail you want to do as a sketch. Here's the ear. You can see a lot of darkness in here. Shadow. Here, I'll show it to you on the black and white too. So you can see more of the shadowing if you get a black and white. Would you use a white Prisma on parts of his coat? No, I would use an eraser. So you could do a medium shading value first, Lena, and then take out with an eraser. And then you can add in your darker values. Judy, if you have a B, high numbered B pencil, like even a 4 or 6 would be better, because the harder you press with, say, a 2 HB, you'll get a real shine. You don't really want to shine on your drawing, so I would use a higher B pencil. Okay, so he's got a nice cheek here. See, there's a lot of shading in there. So his cheek, kind of have to pay attention to anatomy here, comes down like this. So again, it'll be little hairs. And then you can shade. It's fairly dark in here. It's not really showing a nose. It's got shading there. He's got white around his eyes. So you want to make sure you leave that. I think it needs to be out a little more. Then here, maybe take this out now. And this kind of, see all this here, you could do as marks. As long as you have the marks going the right way. Really depends on you. What, how detailed do you want it? More shading in here. Yes, exactly, Janet. To get the fur you do have to have a very sharp pencil. And you can get very much into the zone when you do this stuff. You get concentrating, and I'm looking at my reference photo more than I'm drawing. So you have to constantly be looking back and forth. Yeah, it's fun. I think if you were going to try fur, I would probably do something small to start, because it can get overwhelming to do. Maybe concentrate on one part of the body of a rabbit or dog or something. Just draw the, I don't know, the tail, or just one area of the face or something. As far as drawing it out, Painty Girl, no, it's a totally different other can of beans. There's a lot more studying involved in doing a face. There is, I guess you'd call it mapping a face with different planes. They're called planes. Actually, I got a book. I'll get my book. Rabbit Trail. This is a great book. If you want to start to learn how to do heads, this tells you everything, and it's written very well. It gives you the differences between men and women's heads. Gives you the difference, children, different ages. It involves kind of access again. So the center line of your face, and this is where your brow would be. So you can, what this Loomis has done is he's drawn a circle, put the cross to where the brow and the center of the nose would be, and that will give you which angle he's facing. And then he adds the jawline from that. There are I've got a few mapping diagrams that I can print out or give to you guys that will help you with the different planes in the face. Planes meaning the dimension of certain, like your eyes have sockets, so it would be a different level than your cheekbones. Your face is this could I could go on and on with this. Being an oval, so your mouth could be here. It's on a third. Your eyes are here. There's usually an eye width between your two eyes and a half. Can't remember if it's half or well, it depends on the person, but the forehead mapping is like that. There's brow bones, so there's another area here that sticks out. Then there's your nose. It sticks out a certain way, and it has different planes in it. The side has different planes. You have your chin area, your muzzle of your mouth is another area. Then right in here, there's the fat where your cheeks are, but when you get older, it sags. So that's a fatty area that has to be, but it also emphasizes certain areas around your mouth. I could go on. There's a temple area that goes in. Don't talk about Sig. That happens, Janet. It just happens. It's easier to draw. Yes, planes. And there's many. Loomis has one, and then there's another one. What's his name? Jenkins. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember, but it does help you when it comes to shading. The face is all about shading. There's very few lines that have to be drawn in the face other than the opening of the mouth, the eyelids, and the opening of your nose. All the rest is shading. And you have to know the muscles and structure of the human head in order to shade. So I can do, and then it depends on, how detailed you want to get it. Do you want to do more caricature, illustrative drawing, or do you want to do realistic drawing? There's different ways of going about it. So I can teach you that too. I know a lot of you would like to do more illustrative girls that they're made up in your head, which are a lot easier to do. So yeah, totally different ball of wax. Sorry. It's a process of learning drawing the head. Or caricature drawing, or you have to learn the basics of proportions. There's a lot of measuring when it comes to doing a portrait to make it look like that person you're drawing. So there's a lot of measuring to say this eye, okay, this eye is that big in comparison to the ear, or the ear's that long, so the face is this long. Like, it's a lot of measuring. All right. So, does everyone know basically what I'm doing here as far as drawing? Did you understand everything that I've done on this part? Is there any questions? Yeah. Floki? Is it Loki or is it Floki? So, what I want you to do, if you got the link that Pacola put up for this, where is it? For this rabbit, I would like you to draw this rabbit to your best ability. You may have to do it a few times. And then next week, I will come on YouTube and through StreamYard, so I can actually put a link so that you can go to it, and then I can bring your screen up on YouTube and see what's going on. Funny bunnies are allowed. Just draw what you see. So you understood about all the, I guess I should have done that separately. Where did I put it? Yeah, I should have done that other one separately, I guess. Oh. You don't do what? StreamYard. StreamYard video. Have no idea how to. Do you have a camera? If not, you can put it up on Twitter or even Instagram. Tag me, and I can take a look at it. It's very simple. If you have a camera, or you can use your phone. Well, Twitter and tag you. Yeah, sure. Twitter's fine. Tag me on Twitter or Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all three under Kathy Arbor. Okay, Cal. That's good. So have you got any other ideas that you want me to elaborate on that I haven't covered yet? Let me know. And I can write it down, and we can tackle it next week. If there's something you would like to do or don't understand and would like some kind of input on. If you don't want to try a bunny, you can do a cup or a vase. I would suggest something that you can't see through, though. Awesome. Awesome, Painty Girl. Glad you liked it. Kathy, do you have an email? Yes, I do. I'll type it in. Alrighty. Now I have some puppies whining upstairs for me, so I guess they want out. So if you have any comments, feel free to put them down below, or any suggestions that you want me to try or give my input on. Feel free to ask. And we'll see you next Thursday at 1. And we'll do some critiquing and answering some more questions. So keep drawing, because the more you do, the better you get. And don't be scared to do mistakes. That's how we learn. We learn through our mistakes. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.